So we jumped in on the trend and we decided to start the Fabric Library podcast. You must be wondering why. I'll tell you why. Because we always try to position ourselves as not just a fabric supplier, but someone who brings value to this industry. And that's why we believe that we're going to have conversations, share stories, listen to each other's success stories, our wins, our losses, our triumphs, our challenges, our obstacles. We believe that they will serve as inspiration, they will serve as reminders and support for each other in the industry. That's why we've decided to start our own podcast and try and have conversations that will probably inspire each other to grow and become better at what we are already good at. Now, speaking of inspiration, who else but a special person to have on our first podcast episode? I'm absolutely honored. Obviously, I meet him every day, but always not in this kind of a setting. It is the chair, co-founder of Bru Textiles and an owner of 100 other companies in different parts of the world. I don't even know half of them. It is Gary Neiman. Welcome, sir, on the show. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, Samir. It's good to be here with you today and to share some of our experiences of growing our company up and what got us here.
When you called me when I was in Sri Lanka, and I'm like, wow, what a wonderful opportunity to work with someone like Gary Neiman. But now here we are sitting with each other doing a podcast 2 years after we started working together. And the reason I wanted to have you on the first episode, Gary, because, you know, in our sales meetings, in our discussions at work, we always have this amazing discussions about things you've learned from your business experience over the past so many years and things we share with each other, the way you inspire all of us to go out and do the things that we do. I just believe that not just us, many others deserve to hear those things. Many others deserve to get inspired by the things that you learned and you shared with us. And that's why I want to really pick your brains and get into Gary Neiman's personal life and of course a lot more about your business as well. So let's start off right from the back, which is your childhood. I know you're born and brought up in South Africa, and then you moved to Belgium for your business, and now you live here in the UAE. Take me back to South Africa in the 60s, post-war, post-industrial revolution. How was life like growing up over there?
Well, I was actually born in 1967. I'm not that old.
Okay, so let me just say 70s.
Okay. So I grew up as a young boy in South Africa, and my grandfather, my mom's father, he had a small share in a fabric company. And I remember when I was a really young kid, from 3-4 years old, I used to go with him to work every Saturday. Okay. And I used to play. They also used to sell carpets and rugs in those days, not just fabrics. And I remember playing in the warehouse on the piles of rugs and helping the guys pack orders, you know, from a very young age. So I was exposed to it at a very young age. And then my father ended up, I have a very young father. My father was only 21 years when I was born. And he because, you know, he was, they probably had me a bit too early. He ended up working for my grandfather. Right. And then he got an opportunity to start a company from zero, a fabric company from zero, which he founded, for a publicly listed company. Right. So he built that company up, and over the years we were always exposed to fabrics, you know, in South Africa. And obviously in those days it was apartheid South Africa. And there was only one thing I wanted to do from a very early age was go and live somewhere else. Okay. And when I finished school, I went to work for my dad for a bit, and then I went and I did my military service for 2 years.
Oh, wow, okay. Was this mandatory back in South Africa?
Yeah, it was conscription. Okay. Everybody had to go to the army. And I had a lot of time off for sports because I was a top sportsman in water skiing, actually.
What kind of sports?
Yeah.
Oh, water skiing.
Barefoot water skiing, yeah. I was 8-time South African champion. Wow. And so I was really into the sports, and I used to get a lot of time off for training. And a lot of the time I would go in and just work in my dad's warehouse, you know, in between. And when I finished the army in the middle of 1988, I went to work for my dad in the warehouse, and I really fell in love with fabrics.
That was your aha moment.
It's a passion. It's really a passion for me. I fell in love there in the warehouse. And I worked in the warehouse for a year. And not even a year. It was probably 7, 8, 9 months after I finished the army, straight from the army into the warehouse. And I noticed in the customer list that there were many customers, mainly Indian traders in those days, that didn't have reps. They didn't have salespeople looking after them. Right. So the house would look after them. It was just called a house account.
Right.
So what I used to do is during lunchtime, I used to pack a bag of samples and run down to these guys. And I got to know them. I built friendships with them. And I started to sell them a lot of rolls of fabric. In those days, we used to sell rolls. A retailer you'd go into a retailer, you'd buy 100 rolls of fabric. It was amazing, Not like today where everything's
cut length.
And even it can be half a meter or 1.5 meters, So, but I grew an affinity to selling and particularly selling fabric. I had a feel for a good fabric, for color, design, and I really used to, sell a lot. I used to come back to the office with the orders. Sometimes I used to sell so much of a new collection that my dad would cancel some of the orders because there'd be no stock for the other customers.
Now, you were around 21 at this time.
Yeah, I'm 22 years old. 21 years old.
Did you at this stage already know the technical side of fabrics and how they're made and all of those
Listen,
things?
Me in my true confident spirit, which I believe I developed through two things. Number one is from my sports career, and number two is from doing my military service. I had enormous confidence.
Right.
You could send me into a room with any big shot, and I could hold my own.
Wow. Okay.
So they talk about faking until you make it, but for me it wasn't that. I really believed I knew what I was doing.
Amazing.
Okay. And it was amazing experience to deal with these Indian traders. The Indians are some of the best traders in the world, to learn to be in the grassroots, in the streets, selling to all these shops and warehouses and things. I really learned a lot. There was a lot of my molding in this business on how to sell, how to negotiate, how to trade. Okay. But still, I wanted to get into the free world. I didn't want to live in the apartheid South Africa.
Right.
And I remember in 1989, a Belgian gentleman who owned a factory in Belgium, a fabric mill, he came to South Africa and he knew my dad. He was friends with my dad. And to be polite, when he heard I was in the business, to be polite, he said, "Hey, Gary, if you ever want to get some experience, you should come to Belgium."
Okay.
So I said, I said, there and then, I said, I'm coming. And he was a bit kind of surprised, but anyway, he couldn't back out of it.
Yeah.
And 2 months later, I moved to Belgium.
I moved.
Yeah. But remember, I moved on my 22nd birthday.
Wow.
So I had really no responsibilities at that time. And it was an easy move for me. Also, I had a European passport. I had an Irish passport from Heritage.
Right.
Okay. So I could go live anywhere in Europe with no visa,
Amazing.
no work permit. So it was an easy entry. And because I had no university education, I needed to get a job in a factory. So I literally got a job in a textile factory.
Yeah.
And I actually, at the time, the first guy I met was someone who still works for Bru today. That's Hans Helsen. And I think you've met him once or twice, Hans. Yeah.
At the conference, yeah.
And so I went in, and he was my boss in the office that I went to, and we started selling there. And that was my journey out of South Africa.
Right.
And at the same time, my brother Jason went to live in the UK. He finished 2 years of high school there. So he lived on his own for his last 2 years of high school.
Right.
And then he went to actually university there.
Were you not academically drawn yourself, or was it just this spirit of entrepreneurship that you just didn't want to study?
I am so unacademic, it's not even funny. My dad really his only wish, because he didn't have a university education, his only wish was that I would get a university education. But I was just one of those people who was made for getting his hands dirty. I wasn't someone to go and sit and look at books. In fact, I'm convinced that I had, undiagnosed ADD or ADHD. I mean, I couldn't. I've probably read 2 books in my life, and I know I shouldn't be proud of that, but it's just a fact. Me, I learn by doing,
right,
and that's how I always did everything. Anyway, after about a year, I left that company in Belgium. I worked there a year. The boss could say, "Listen, I can see you're going to be too restless here. Go and do your own thing."
Right.
And I went. I literally walked out of there and I started. And as they say, the way to start something is to start. No, to start. And that's literally what I did.
Right.
Didn't know anything about accounting, didn't know anything about finance, had to learn all that stuff the hard way. But it was just great learnings along the way. And I started my own business selling as an agent, selling on commission, fabrics. I used to take fabrics from Europe, sell it in South Africa. I took fabrics to the United States, I sold it in South Africa. I found lines to represent, and I used to go down there. Then I started selling American lines in Belgium.
Right.
And I had a great mill that I found in Belgium that wasn't selling in America. I went to America. I literally went there and I learned the market there, and I started selling to the wholesale companies over there. And that's basically how I got it going. And Jason, my brother, finished university in 1994, in mid-1994. He had his summer break. And then after the summer, and he, by the way, he studied textile technology and management at university in Leeds, in the UK.
Was that given to him like from your dad saying you have to study this, or was it something?
No, it was something like he didn't really know what he wanted to do, so he studied that.
Might as well do something.
Yeah. And also, even when he was a kid, we used to go to the warehouse together.
So that's something you knew about.
Jason, he's a big, strong. I'm not going to say the words on camera, but he's a strong guy. And so he was always handy in a warehouse, you know.
No, he doesn't hold back.
And then in August or September 1994, no, it was September 1994, we were sitting in the bar drinking Diet Cokes. I'm not joking, Diet Cokes. In the Sheraton in Brussels. And that's where Bru was founded. We literally said, my brother said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to look for a job. I said, no, Bru, we're starting Bru.
Wow.
And literally, it was founded. And we incorporated the company in December that year, December 1994.
Like the light bulb.
So at the end of this year, it's going to be 30 years.
Amazing.
At the end of 2024. So that's it. And I mean, there's a million stories in between how we got from 1994 to 2024. But I mean, that's...
I know you can sit here all night.
Yeah, we will sit here all day and all night. Yeah.
I mean, we've heard little anecdotes in our journey of being together, but I'm sure there's so much to share. And it's such a wonderful success story. I think 30 years of now, I think easily the leading fabric supplier in the world, that is Bru.
Well, I always say that I can't say that.
You can't say that.
Okay. You could say it, but we can't say that. No, we have to be humble. We have to be humble. Okay. That's the goal.
Yes.
Okay. But other people decide on that.
Right.
Okay. Because that is a subjective comment. So other people, and thank you for,
no, of course.
for your compliments.
But I think it doesn't even need to be said because it's that apparent. So then there's Bru in 1994.
Yeah.
Then you have this amazing company that you're running. And I know the first few years must have been hard because it's never easy, even though you have all the network that you've made from your previous job. You know people in the industry. Still setting up a company in a place like Belgium, starting from scratch, must have had its own challenges. I remember you telling me stories about you and your brother working in the warehouse, driving the forklift and things like that.
Okay,
Take me through some of those challenges.
Yeah. So first of all, there was no forklift in the beginning.
Okay,
Jason and I were the forklifts. We couldn't afford a forklift. We started the business on a shoestring.
Wow.
Okay. So we couldn't, I would have rather than bought a forklift, we put everything we had into the goods,
Of course.
into fabrics to sell them.
Inventory,
But let me just go back 1 second.
Okay.
1 second. So for me, the two most important rules for me in business is one, your handshake. The promise does not have the luxury of a changing circumstance. Whatever your agreement is, your agreement. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, I felt, and I've always felt that way. And if you follow that principle, how wrong can you go?
True.
Stick to your promises. I mean, that was pretty straightforward. But what I realized pretty quickly in business is people don't keep their promises. Yes. So that was actually a differentiator. That was a major advantage where we could become we injected that into our core values. Okay, but that was one of the things. The other thing is, and I'm very proud about this, is you don't know what you don't know. So when you come out of university, you don't know shit. Okay? So what happens is, you just go and you try everything. And I'm convinced if I knew too much, I would never have got to where I got because I would not have taken the risk.
Correct.
Okay, because even my own dad, while he always encouraged us in business, he thought we were making a mistake by becoming a textile converter. You know? Yeah. So it's really those two things. And that's it. That's what I have in my pocket. I have those two things.
That's the secret to Bru's success today.
Yeah, of course. We've built it up. We've solidified that, and we have very good processes and structure within our organization. But it all falls back on that. Keep your promises and try stuff. Just try.
That's as far as running the business is concerned, Gary. But I think another aspect of running a business is being a people's person, being a leader. When you have a team of so many different people, there are moments when it gets quite tough handling different personalities, different individuals with different mindsets. How do you go about man management? What are your ethos when it comes to that?
Okay, so that's actually something I love doing very much, working with different people. Right. Okay, and I'll tell you why and how. Okay, I grew up in apartheid South Africa. Okay, so growing up in apartheid South Africa made you as a white person be conscious of it, conscious that it was wrong, and made me make more efforts to reach over, to be inclusive rather than exclusive. Okay, so that's one of the things. So when I came to Europe, I came with that. I already could work. You know, when I came to Europe, there was not so much immigration in those days. You hardly saw a foreigner. Yeah. Okay, but we had that experience. We worked with the black South Africans. We worked with Asian South Africans and Indian South Africans and colored South Africans. You know, we were used to it. So that was a major advantage, actually. And the other thing is, in business, I'm just a people's person. I know how to adjust the mood for the person instead of making the person adjust the mood for me. And I'm about people working together. It's like when there's an issue, when there's a personal problem between two people in my company, I find it difficult to understand because I can literally get on with everybody. Yes. Okay? I know sometimes I can be a tough bugger, okay? But I can literally get on with everybody. And I think you've got to have the balance. Right. So you've got to show empathy for people, 100%. And empathy is one of the most important things in business. But you also have to have rules and boundaries.
Absolutely.
You know, otherwise you just get walked over with your empathy. So I believe I have a huge elasticity with people. And that's why I can work with different types of people. And that's why I believe I'm good at running teams.
Yes.
Okay? And I love to lead the team. You understand? You know, 30 years later, I wake up every day and I have butterflies in my stomach to get to that office and to go work with the people. Now you say, you're crazy after 30 years?
They are the first to arrive.
And
Always.
you know, Fabric Library, which is our new baby here, I feel like I'm in startup mode again, you know? And we're about lifting the level of the market. We're not here to be the cheapest.
Yep.
We're here to give the ultimate value to the market. So our competitors shouldn't even be worried about us.
You're raising the bar.
We're here to raise the bar. We're here to make it better for everybody.
Let's get to Fabric Library.
Okay.
Now that we've gone past the Belgium and Bru stage, you moved to Dubai, UAE, 2021, 2020?
Yeah, so I've been here for 3 years, in 2021.
Okay. What was the main reason for coming to Dubai? I mean, obviously you have it good in Belgium. Why move to UAE?
Okay, well, you know, right now I'm 57 years old.
Okay.
I was 54 at the time. How many 54-year-olds that already have a family have the chance to go and do it again? Okay, so this was to go and do something different, and we still stay in the same sector, in the same industry, but to go and do it again. So that was one of them. But the other thing is, maybe I should share something personal with you. In 2014, my daughter was born extremely prematurely. At the time, she was the third youngest gestation, that means the amount of days till you're born, to survive in the world at that time, in 2014. She was exactly 22 weeks, and she was 400 grams. The chance of survival was 1 in millions. And my wife and I, and by the way, I've been with my wife now 25 years. She's the love of my life. I put the same passion into my marriage and my relationship as I do into the business.
Right.
Okay? Because I believe you need to do that to make anything work.
Of course.
Okay? And my daughter, Josephine, stayed in hospital for 6 months.
Wow.
And for the first 2 months, it was really hanging on a thread every day. It was really a tough moment that my wife and I had to go through in our lives. And I said to the doctor on the first day, because everybody, I mean, around us, all our relatives, friends, are sending us like condolence messages. Wow. I mean, my daughter's still alive, okay? But that's how bleak everybody's hopes were. And I said to the doctor, I said, Doctor, his name was Frederick, Dr. Frederick, tell me what I have to do to take my daughter home. He said, be here 24 hours a day.
Wow.
Literally. So that's what we did. We stayed with her for 6 months.
In the hospital?
In the hospital, in another country. We were in Sweden.
Wow.
We were not in Belgium. And I mean, there's a million stories of a roller coaster. But multiple times during that stay, the doctors intimated to us that she was going to die that day. So for me, my daughter became this thing. Listen, Gary Neiman can make anything happen. Okay? Why, you know, how come what's going on with my daughter? I said, that's what it's going to take. The guy can make everything happen is taking that baby home with him in 6 months. Because they told us it was going to take 6 months.
Wow, the belief.
Yeah. So I won't get into every story that happened there, but it was a very, very tough time. For me, I look at it as I grew a lot during that period. And I'm someone who never takes anything for granted. but that took me to a new level of not taking anything for granted. That's why people ask me, how are you? I say, well, my daughter's breathing. I'm happy. You know, she ended up being on oxygen for almost 2 years.
Wow.
And along the way, we found out that my daughter had autism. And
Because of the pre-birth, obviously. As a
no.
result of it.
Autism, it's unknown why kids have autism.
All right.
Okay. It's not, you cannot say that.
There's
because
no reason as
because just our luck. 9 weeks after my daughter left hospital, my son was born prematurely. And we went back in for 3 months to the hospital. Okay? And he was also less than a kilo. So, you know, we spent like 9 months in the hospital in a 1 year period. It was
Not
amazing.
easy having
In 11-month period. Okay, yeah. And it was, in an 11-month period, we spent 9 months.
Almost a year.
Yeah. So it's, and he hasn't got autism. So, you know.
You can never tell the reason.
No, you can never tell it. Okay. So when I came to Dubai in early in 2021 and I went to see some of the schools, I really saw and learned here that they had what my daughter needed.
Right.
So I would say that was my biggest trigger. And she's just finished her 3rd year at school here. She's doing amazingly well. She's 10 years old. She couldn't read or write or anything. She can read, write.
Amazing.
She speaks 2 languages and she's learning Arabic.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, that's not one of the languages she speaks because she's learning.
Great.
But we had that opportunity to do something else. And for my daughter to go to a normal school where in Dubai, they bend over backwards for people of determination.
Absolutely.
And this is just amazing. And this is something that never happened in Belgium. Yes, there was a school, but it was a special school for that. You couldn't send a assistant or anything with her. She couldn't go to a normal school. Yeah, she goes to a normal school. She's a very popular kid. So those were 2 of the reasons. One was to start off again when I was 54 years old.
Right.
And the other thing was to give an opportunity for my daughter.
Amazing.
Of course, my son, he was in tow. He's on board.
Yeah.
He's also benefiting from it. And then what's pretty amazing is, you know, typical Dubai, we fit right in here. We got on with life here, and we feel like we've almost always lived here. And it's, of course, the weather's better than Europe. So there's many things. Of course, I miss Belgium. As I say, you know, you just give me a hut and a place on the floor, I'm okay. You know. So I will be happy anyway. But I'm having a great time here. I'm really, what I enjoy most, except for seeing my kids prosper, I am enjoying most about working with a team, building up the team. You're one of them, you know, and working together with all these new people and trying to get the best out of them and the best out of myself.
That brings me to Fabric Library then.
Yes.
You come to Dubai, you now obviously integrate your business values, the way you run businesses, and then you put it in here into an already existing partner that Bru had here. Obviously, it must have had its challenges. It must have had its own obstacles in bringing your thought process into a company that may have been run a bit differently. How did you navigate through them, and what did you do?
Okay, well, first of all, my partner, who's still my partner here in the UAE, so Mr. Manish, who's a very good friend, first of all. Second of all, he's still a partner with us. He's not involved actively in running the furnishing side of the business, which is Fabric Library.
Yeah.
He's still today one of the most highly respected people in my life. Okay, and we're still good friends. So that goes beyond.
Of course.
But he gave me the keys. He said, Gary, it's yours. You run it. I'll support anything you do. It couldn't have been easier. He couldn't have made it easier for me. So while, you would think it would be a challenge. It was not a challenge at all. First of all, the people in that company, he built an amazing culture.
Of course.
The people there to serve. I'd argue we have one of the best indoor sales or customer service teams in the world. I'm not going to say in UAE because there's probably other ones that are better than us. But I'll just say in the world, okay? And I'm honored enough to work with Dr. Jadav, okay, who's the CEO, he's really a man of wisdom. So here I am. Okay, they haven't got the most modern systems and the way we do things at Bru, but completely receptive to changing everything.
100%.
So we are now Bruvanizing the company, and there's a lot to come. There's a lot to come. We've more than doubled the business since we got involved, okay, which is 18 months. And we've just got the tip of the iceberg.
Just scratching the surface.
We're busy on a whole GCC expansion, which I've got 100% buy-in from the team. Amazing. We have an amazing team. Now, when I say amazing team, not just our sales team, of course, that's the people you spend the most time with, your sales and marketing people. But it's not just the sales team. It's every single person who works in our company. Even the guy serving the tea or sweeping the warehouse, the attitude they bring to the table is amazing. And I'm convinced because, one, they can see, the people in the company can see we're going somewhere, number one. But number two is, we also have this whole health regiment in our company.
Yes, fitness culture.
Yes, fitness culture, where most people go to gym a few times a week. Okay, we do supply, we do give as a perk within the business a gym membership. A subscription. And we have a personal trainer. And that personal trainer follows each and every person. And we have record keeping of how people are doing. And you walk into Fabric Library today, it's like a picture of health.
Yes.
Even for myself, I've always been someone who's into training, my sports, good diet and that. But today, I think most people in the company are like that, yourself included. I mean, you've really also got yourself into much better shape than, let's say, a year ago.
Yep.
So it's just really good to see in the organization. And I think that spirit of being healthy, clear mind, bringing in all these best practices from Europe, plus blending it into the local culture, okay, is been amazing.
It's about
easy for me. Easy. It's not difficult.
It's about marrying all the good concepts that you bring, and of course that was already existing. And you're right. I think I've been inspired so much. I've somehow pushed myself to lose about 10 kilos in the last 3 to 4 months, and that obviously comes first of all from him, Gary. Because look at him, he's 57 and he's having a six-pack, which is a shame for most of us. I walk in there in the office in the morning, he's standing and working. He doesn't sit, by the way. He stands the whole day, trying to be outstanding. Excuse the pun. That is, I want to try and end off on that point, because I think that's the message I want to try and deliver to anyone who's watching. Obviously, this will be watched mostly by our internal group of Bru partners. At 57, the kind of business that you've built, the kind of businesses, let me put it plurally, that you've built, and obviously multiple income streams. For most people, it'll be like, you know what? I'm done. I quit. Let me go enjoy my life. Let me retire. Most people will be at your age with the kind of setup you have, probably chilling in a beach house somewhere, happy and smiling. But Gary Neiman wants to work hard every single day. Still, what is it that drives you every morning that you wake up? Where does that passion come from?
Okay. Well, I'll give you 5 words. I will die at my desk. Okay.
Yes, probably.
Standing.
Probably.
Standing. Okay. So, what drives me? Okay. Number one is that I can go to the beach.
If you want.
For a few hours. Not for a few hours. Okay. For me, I get so much enjoyment about building the team, working with the team, seeing the results, even in tough times, because then you've got to, this is a challenge, you've got to get yourself out of it, But I get so much enjoyment and fulfillment out of it. That besides my family, I get it from my work. Now, it's not to say I couldn't get it from something else.
Of course.
But
You choose to get it.
but yeah, I'm getting it. Why change it? And then also, never take anything for granted. Like I said before, I appreciate all the people who wake up every day and they come and they put their heart and souls into our organization. Now, we only talk about Fabric Library, but we have amazing team members in Bru, in Belgium, and around the world. We have offices, we have offices in many, many places. We also have subsidiaries in many places. We've got amazing people. I don't want to start naming them because I'll forget someone who I won't forget, but I'll be here. I'll have to name you 1,200 people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but we have amazing people working for us. And I would say, so the secret to our success is we've got amazing people. Okay. The secret to why I'm still there is no secret. It's just doing exactly what I want to do. I want to be doing this where you see me every day. I want to be standing there and controlling the empire. Okay? That's what I want to do.
It gives you the joy.
It's enormous joy. And it inspires me. And also, you work with your brother. Okay. Bru means brother. This is our South African days. Bru.
Afrikaans, yeah.
Jason, my brother, and I, we call each other brother. I would not be here today if it wasn't for my Bru, Jason. Okay? If you're listening to this, Bru, you know it. Okay? We have the most amazing relationship. Of course, we can have arguments just like any brothers. I'm sure you have with your own brother. But honestly, we have an argument, we have a disagreement. 10 minutes later, half a minute later, it's done. We're on to the next thing. We've never, ever had a fight about money. It's usually fighting about bullshit. Okay, but my brother's my pillar. I have a wonderful wife. She's very supportive. Her name's Christine. She's very supportive. She's a great person. She is my soulmate. But there is nothing like a brother. As I say to my brother, I've got your back. You don't have to look behind you to see if I'm there because I'm there. That's what a brother is. Okay? There through thick and thin, right or wrong, I stand behind my brother. And we have that amazing relationship together. And that's why I want to work with my brother. Listen, life doesn't go on forever, and there will be a day that one of us goes, and it'll be a terrible day for the other one.
Yes.
Okay, but we'll just have to cherish everything we had before, And how, we don't know how the dynamic will change, when it gets to that point. Okay? But I'm there for the long haul. I'm 57. You know me, my energy, I've got energy levels of half my age.
Yeah. 10 people combined, I'd say.
So that's what I want to do. I want to be there at the office with the people, in the market, with customers, with suppliers, with our people, all building up together, and hopefully taking as many people as we can with us. I want everybody to do well, not just us. I mean, not just me, not just my brother.
Now, with you leading from the front now for Fabric Library, obviously, and this amazing, inspiration that you brought into the company, this practice that you brought in the company, I can almost see in the last year how attitudes have changed. I remember when we first started having sales meetings, the guys couldn't speak a word. The rest of the guys in the team. Obviously, it doesn't take too much trouble for me to speak a word, but generally you find people afraid to speak in meetings. And then 1 year later today, everyone's standing up and sharing their opinion. I mean, they wouldn't have dreamt of it 2 years ago. So the effects are almost visible already. And this is just the first year. Can you imagine what it's going to be like in the next 5 to 10 years? So that's where let's end it with figuring out or trying to understand what is Gary Neiman's vision for the next maybe 10 years for Fabric Library. And I know you've already created a legacy, okay? But after 10 years, whether you're still here or not, how is Gary Neiman going to be remembered of what he has accomplished in his time here?
Okay. So number one is the answer to if I'll be here in 10 years' time, providing my health, which it's not always your choice, but providing my health is good, you can count your chickens. I will definitely be here with the group. I will, because I've seen this happen in so many companies, if I feel I'm not performing at my optimum, I will actually step aside and be there to support and coach and train and mentor.
We hope not.
No, but hopefully there'll be others who'll be built up. There's some great potential within our organization, and that's what I'm there. I'm there to train them, not to be me, but to run the organization. Don't try to replace yourself.
Of course.
Let them replace themselves.
Yeah.
Let them become a CEO or a chairman or whatever they're going to become. Yeah. And the vision for the next 10 years. Well, my vision, okay, and I hate saying our vision is to be the best fabric distributor in the Middle East in terms of fabric library.
Fabric library, of course.
And to really make in a household, fabric library, a household name for quality, service, design, luxury in the fabric space. Now, best doesn't mean biggest, but best would mean pretty big. Okay? For me, it's not about being the biggest. It's really about being the best. And what is the best? Those four things that I said. Okay? And I would say what's important for me is that in my vision is that the teams, the partners come with us. Yes, at certain stages, maybe shareholders come and go, they sell out or they want to retire. Or, that might happen. But the team, I'm in it with you guys all the way. So stay with me. I'll be there with you. I would say, does that answer your question 100%? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's so much to say as well. When we start getting to war stories, we're going to be here, as I say, day and night.
Yeah, probably do another episode, maybe a few later.
Sure.
Because the idea behind this podcast, as I said earlier, obviously we start off with you, but then later on we want to bring industry partners, our design clients, our architects clients, obviously furniture manufacturers. I'm sure, just like you, many of them have some amazing stories to share, and that can obviously serve as inspiration. Gary Neiman, founder and chair of Bru Textiles. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I know we talk every day, but not in this kind of setting.
Beautiful. No, it's been. Thanks for choosing me for your first our first podcast.
It couldn't be anyone else. Thank you for the conversation. We will catch you on another episode of ours. We hope you found inspiration. We hope this conversation was useful. Until then, ciao.
Thank you very much.